Okay, so where do we go from here? What's the future hold? Well, first of all, I want to assure the many of you that have come up and said they're sorry that I'm retiring. I am resigning my job more so than retiring because I'm just changing careers. I have 5 feet of briefs I read every 2 weeks in my day job. It is relentless. The only change I've had in 16 years is 3 weeks to read the 5 feet instead of 2. And so that part, you know, I've been doing most of this criminal justice reform and the veteran stuff almost full time, and one of the 2 jobs had to go, and you can guess which one's going. And so I'm hoping to be more involved in this. I sort of joked with General Ashenhurst at lunch that I'm thinking of myself as Stratton unleashed. Unleashed are the 5 feet of briefs, the ethical restrictions on advocacy, and the ethical restrictions on fundraising that judges have, and really going to spend a lot more, not just in Ohio, but I'll be very involved in Ohio, but also nationally, trying to take the lessons we've learned on a national basis, because very few states have the judiciary involved to the degree Ohio has the judiciary involved. And so I'm going to be going and teaching other states how we can do that. In fact, in December, I'm giving a keynote speech to about 500 people from other states about how does a Supreme Court justice get involved in stuff like this. It's basically the theme of it. But what has happened today, you're mostly leadership. But we didn't go after rank and file veterans or organizations. We went after leadership because you are the people that are going to make it happen. You are the people that have heard what somebody else is doing. And I saw all sorts of wheels turning, and I've even heard of it. And lunches, I've heard of lunches where people got together and started plotting and planning. That's what I hope would generate. That's what happened after each of the other sessions we've had, summits we've had. And I know that's what's going to happen out of here because we have such a committed group of people. You found new linkages, you found new ideas, you found new connections to make. But one of the key things we're going to really have to be challenged by is it's great to have all these ideas, but how do we get it to that vet who's sitting in their room and doesn't want to answer the phone and doesn't want to go out, and the family doesn't know what to do with them? The very thing that Dr. Padin really focused us on. How do we take all these wonderful projects and ideas and get it to that person and get them connected with their community, with their programs, with the help? And so as we think of all these projects, we have to always keep that front and center of how are we going to get that to the person who's coming back, who doesn't want the help, doesn't think they need the help, doesn't want the stigma of the help, all the things we know about. What's the mechanism we can use? So that's one of our biggest challenges. I think Ohio is doing an absolutely marvelous job on the partnerships, far better than any other state I know of. As I said earlier, I don't know of any state that has a better relationship with the VA or with the courts having a better relationship with all of the providers and the agencies than Ohio. But let's just keep our eyes and ears open for new projects. I'm going to think of myself as a senator from Ohio now. Every time I find about some funding from a foundation, I'm going to bring the pork back to Ohio. Hopefully we can fund some of the projects. I'm really excited about this project with incarcerated vets and the reentry, and I got some ideas for funding on that already. So, but as we get these new ideas, let's really think about how we can do them, how we can make Ohio the role model, because sometimes when you're the role model, funding follows for somebody who wants to try a new role model, and we can bring that back to help improve the vets. And so I wanted to just close by thanking all of you. Many of you have stuck the entire day. I know on a Friday that's a challenge, but I'm so grateful that many of you have stayed. I know that there are wheels turning, there are ideas being generated. I think we can have some exciting times working in the future. I will be putting out my personal information of how to find me. Afterwards, my staff, Sue Bowery, who many of you have talked to and have met, is actually, she's actually much older than she looks. And people constantly say she has the right to retire, but she's not. She is actually going to continue with me as my assistant because she knows everybody and knows all of you and knows how I work. And so we're going to be partnering together, continuing this work. So for the two of us, it's kind of like nothing's going to change. We're just going to keep on trudging forward with our projects, but she's going to stay with me. So between the two of us, you'll be able to get a hold of us, and I'm going to continue, as I mentioned, with the Attorney General as co-chair of his task force, which keeps me heavily involved in the subcommittee on Veterans Affairs and heading up the OMLAT project, which I'm very, very excited about, its potential, and having Mike at the helm leading us through this. So that's where we're going in the future, partnership, but delivering it to the person that needs it and figuring out how to make that happen are our challenges. And all of you are part of that solution, and I thank you all for all that you give to these people who have given so much for us. Their personal sacrifices, their physical sacrifices, their mental sacrifices. As Dr. Bedeen said, they are changed forever, but they're changed because they did that for us, and so we owe it back to them to do all we can for them. So thank you, drive safe, have a wonderful weekend, and go forth and do marvelous works.